Welcome, everyone. This is Virginia Parsons, and yes, I am your Hangout mentor and the host of the Inspirational Business Women Show, where it is really my passion and my intent to bring to you, the viewer, a goldmine of entrepreneurial tips, strategies, and advice to grow your business from inspirational business women in the know. And I want to thank you all for being here today. As our viewers, you're very important to us. And I want you to know that I know your time is valuable and important. So my intention is to make this show action-packed, filled with strategies, tips, and advice that you can take action on immediately. I want you to take this information and integrate it into your life and your business to increase your own business success. So stay tuned, because I think we've got an action-packed show for you today. I'm very excited to bring it to you. Today's show is sponsored by Hangout-Marketing.com. And what we do is offer you a free Hangout marketing assessment that will measure your skill set and your knowledge base using Hangouts on Air to brand, market, and grow your business and help you reach new heights of visibility, social influence, and success. So if you'd like to take advantage of that free assessment, all you have to do is text the word success, SUCCESS, to area code 307-269-2040, and if you're out of the country, just add a 1 in front of that. You can also go to www.hangout-marketing.com to take advantage of that assessment, and you may even qualify for a free strategy session with me. So that's the end of the sponsoring part. I am so excited to bring to you today a wonderful lady all the way from New Zealand. Now, New Zealand is the other side of the world for most of us here if you're in the United States, but since Hangouts are global, isn't it wonderful that we can all connect so easily and naturally from all over the world? So we've got today Diane Wilkins. She is the executive producer of the new up-and-coming Authentic You Web TV, and I'll let her tell you all about it. And today's show is focusing on living an empowered life. I love this topic, and I know you're going to be very excited about some of the strategies and tips that Diane's going to provide for you. And since I want this show to be action-packed and filled with strategies you can apply immediately, let's all take one action together. I want to thank you, viewers, for being here. And I'd love it if you would just put in the comment section below where you're hanging out from. And also, what's your passion? What's your business? What is it that you want to get out to the world in a big way? We'd like to hear about that. Also, if you have any questions for Diane, make sure that you just go ahead and put those in the comment box. We may not get to them right away live on the show, but we're going to hang around for a little bit after the show, and if a few of you want to come in to inside the Hangout to ask Diane those questions, we'll take a few minutes to do that. Otherwise, your questions will be answered via the comment section after the show. So I want to thank you all for coming and letting us know where you're hanging out from. Now, Diane, again, is just a master of living an empowered life herself. And so today what we're going to talk about is New Zealand, where she's from, and the first light concept and what that can mean for you and your business. Very powerful information there. Then we're going to talk about ways to develop your intuition, something that I've always wanted to do a better job at, and Diane's going to give us some good advice in that area. Finally, we're going to talk about the law of attraction in action. So how to take this law we've all heard about, the law of attraction, how do we apply it in our own life, take action on it on a daily basis to really uplift and make our business grow. So that's what we're in for today, so stick around. You're going to get some action-packed tips and strategies to take home and apply in your own business. So I want to go ahead and welcome you, Diane, to the show. And go ahead and introduce yourself and say hi to the audience.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Virginia, for this opportunity. And as you said, there's no borders or boundaries anymore. People can connect from all over the world. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity at this exciting time.
Well, it is an exciting time, especially when you talk about this topic of living an empowered life. And I think that that's something that we all really want to embrace in a bigger way. Feeling like we are empowered in all of our response patterns and all the ways we go about our daily lives in spite of what we can often feel like a frenetic energy world that sometimes feels out of control and out of our control. So we'll be talking about that today. Well, let's start, Diane, with your journey, because I think people will find this interesting. We all have our own journeys and our own stories, but yours is rather unique in that you picked up and left your homeland of South Africa to move to New Zealand, and I'm sure our viewers would like to know, how did you manage to do that? Why did you do it? And what inspired you to do that?
Thank you, Virginia. So I was very much in a corporate background in South Africa. I had a great job in marketing and public relations and got to travel around the country a lot. So yeah, I had a great lifestyle there. So it wasn't for any political or any other reasons that I left South Africa. However, while I was, for as far back as I can remember, there's been a feeling, a sense of there's got to be something more to life. It can't just be about a career, and the competition and all of that type of thing. There has to be another way of being. And at that time, a friend had been to New Zealand. I hadn't even been to New Zealand ever before that. But for some reason, there was this inner knowing that I needed to go. And I was at a stage in my life where I could do with a different career. Although it was great, there was a plateau. And I was ready for adventure and to get out and go and do something different with my life. So I sold everything, packed up, arrived in New Zealand. And so I hadn't even seen it before. I hadn't been here. I didn't know anybody else here. And yet, when I arrived, I had this absolute sense of homecoming. It was quite uncanny. And within 2 weeks, so as I say, I had a corporate background. And within 2 weeks of being in New Zealand, I realized why I had come here. And I met this man who was teaching psychosomatic therapy. And I signed up straight away for that course. I knew this was it. This was the next step for me. And what it was about was actually learning to read the body, to see what people look like. There's a way of it's an absolute science of being able to read what a person's beliefs are and how they've manifested in the physical body. So I was absolutely fascinated, and I felt I've come 10,000 kilometers around the world, and this is what it's about. So that was the start of my inner journey of really doing all sorts of different study and modalities. And I started first off on the physical. So I did massage, I did all sorts of other different things, reflexology, everything to really understand anatomy and physiology, understand the physical body. So that was the start. Then it led to, okay, so I started studying the energetic side of it, and I did electromagnetic field balancing and things like that. And then it took me a step further. Well, there is the energetic, however, that's when metaphysics and that started coming in for me, and I studied A Course in Miracles. And it basically shows you that everything in the universe is subjective, that there is nothing independent of your perception, your projection, and then your perception. And that it was like absolutely, suddenly life made far more sense to me, because I was, it empowered me. I started living from trusting and knowing my own intuition and living from that place instead of reacting to external circumstances and different things that happened outside of me. It was a path of a stronger inner journey for me.
So you went from the corporate world to a journey inward, and yet your path to inward started with psychosomatic therapy, which is, if I'm understanding correctly, has to do with reading the body, and the body is projecting beliefs by the way it carries itself. Is that correct?
Absolutely, and it is so fascinating. I use that tool. I feel like, I've got this secret weapon, if you like, for want of a word. But pretty much by looking at a person, it tells you, it empowers you as to how to be with that person. You can see whether they're a fast thinker, whether they need a lot of information, whether they just want a little bit. All of that as well. So it helps you with when you are actually communicating with someone. It helps you with that. Plus, by simply even the face alone, not even going to the rest of the body, within the face, by the shape of the person's eyes, the shape of their ears, their chins, their nose, everything tells a story. And to me, it's such a fascinating journey.
Oh, I'd love to be read sometime, but we won't do it live. That sounds absolutely fascinating. Now, from there, it is, if I'm remembering correctly, you went on to start working with visionary leaders in New Zealand, and you put together several programs in order to get the word out about all the different modalities that you could use to take this inner journey and become really more content within yourself and more in control of your life, and indeed to live the empowered life. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. And what I would encourage viewers to do is it's all very well doing different courses and things like that. However, bring them back to yourself. Let it be not just to study somebody else's modality or anything like that. Always bring it back to yourself. For example, if you're studying numerology, or you're having, finding out more about your numerology, it is that, once again, it's absolutely fascinating, because that tells you more about the energy of when you were born, the numbers. The accuracy is quite uncanny. So I followed that. I found out more about myself in all different areas, including astrology as well. Once again, where were all the planets, which everything is vibration. So when you were born, what was actually going on at that time that added to the actual blueprint or makeup of you? And it doesn't by any means define you, because you are defining yourself in each moment. However, it's wonderful to get to know a bit more about yourself that way. And to me, that was, once again, just ways of helping me tune in even more to the essence of who I am and what my makeup is. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, how does this apply to, first of all, your business and attracting all these visionary leaders to you for the new show that you're offering, Authentic You Web TV? Can you give us a little bit more description about that and how that can benefit our viewers today?
Certainly. So I noticed, when I was in the corporate, one of the things that I really enjoyed was the staff that worked for me. I loved when it came for time for their evaluations, and then actually seeing where their strengths were and encourage them to develop that, and their passions, and encourage them to develop that. So the next natural thing for me after I'd done all the study in that was I love supporting people. I love helping them step into their own, step up, and being that support person in that. And having had the marketing and public relations background, it was a natural thing. So I founded Integrated Event Center. And the name is because it's not about theologies. Once again, it's about integrating what it is that you learn, actually, taking it on board and empowering yourself through that. So we set up the center, and as the law of attraction works there, just a small example is, when you set whatever your vibration is at is what you draw more of. So I had these people, they would hear by word of mouth, And they started coming to the center, and I would do all the marketing for them, set it all up. Being a Libra as well, I love beauty and setting things up nicely, and things looking aesthetically nice. So I had a natural gift and talent with that, so that was what I did, and that grew their business, etc. Then from that, I actually felt really inspired to hold an international co-creative symposium. This was, just the signposts that were showing up showed for that to happen. And with these teachers that I had been supporting and everything, there were two in particular that I knew I wanted them to help me sort of hold the space for this event. So, and what this event was, with New Zealand being the first light, I was guided to have an event where we are seeding the new consciousness, where as a group of people we would come together and we would help seed this consciousness so that we could help with a shift in consciousness for humanity. So we had this event in April of last year, and it was amazing. It was very challenging in a lot of ways as well, because people are used to an agenda and a strong formal structure. However, the guidance was that if you want to change something, if you want to shift something, you come without an agenda and you meet collectively, you tune into each other, and from that place, you allow the collective, whatever wants to come through, to happen. So this is what we did. And it was a great event. And on that weekend, I got inspired to start New Zealand the First Light, supporting visionary teachers. So it took integrated events to a whole new level. And I had a whole lot of people then join that once again. It was the advertising, the marketing, etc. And then I was guided to start online webinars, because how else do we take the teachings from here to the rest of the world? So, and through that, I then met Casey Zeman, who has got Easy Webinar, and he had Anne on his show, and I knew immediately, and that's Anne DeVere from Turn Your Show into Cash, and I knew that was the next step for me. But once again, I do things boots and all, and I didn't want to just watch the show. I needed to be part of the show, because that's how I learn best. And what a journey that was. So on the first meeting that we had, on the first hangout that we had when we all got together, was when the name for the show became evident. And then each week it just built on that. It was like I absolutely felt like that whole show had been designed for me, which is a wonderful way to feel about that. So, yeah. So basically, it was the next step for what I'd already started with New Zealand the First Light. And now there was a way for these teachers to come and really get their message out to the rest of the world. So we have an absolute, as one of our presenters says, we have a smorgasbord of different snacks, is the way he puts it. And each of these different people are bringing their passion and their purpose to be of service to humanity at this time and collectively pull together. And it'll include things like the cellular memory of the body. So we very much are going to bring science and spirituality together. It's time for that. We've got a wonderful storyteller who's going to talk about sacred journeys. His passion has been taking people on sacred journeys throughout New Zealand. And then sacred geometry is another one as well. For people who are not aware of that, it's an absolute science. When you start seeing how the 5 platonic solids and everything, our bodies are designed through all of that. We'll also cover things like superfood, what you can do at this moment to really help raise your own vibration and look after this physical body. So we'll have a whole host of different things. We've got 16 different people at this stage, and already some more people booked for down the track to come on board.
Well, this is a great example of how you start taking action in your passion and it begins to unfold and evolve in a way that, guides you to where you really are going to end up offering a wonderful service to humanity across the globe. So we're very excited to see the start of this show, which is beginning in October, you said, early October.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
Let's talk about how they can take this first light concept and apply it to their own business. I think this is just a fascinating concept and one that's so easy for people to take action on right away. So what does the first light mean to you, and how can people apply it to their own businesses?
Great. So New Zealand is the first country in the world to see the light, and I feel that is why, one of the main reasons why all of these people are feeling to pull together, because here is where so it's a case of, it's the first light of the day. What tone are we setting for the day? What are we, that ripple effect that goes out, the harmony that we create here, what is going out to the rest of the world? So that is the whole underlying base of Authentic You TV, is to do that. So for each of our viewers, what in your life, how can you start within your business? How can you start your day? What can you do to set the tone for your day, to set a clear and a pure intention for your day? Because that's what everything that sets the base for your day as well.
Well, so I would say it's as simple as becoming aware as you become conscious, becoming aware of your mood right from the start. And if your mood is less than what you want it to be to have your day feel empowered, feel uplifted, feel inspired, then even before you get out of bed, you can start to adjust your tone. And the more you're aware of what that tone is when you first wake up, the more each breath you take, you're going to continue to uplift that tone, and as you might say, uplift your vibration, so that when we talk about the law of attraction and action, you start to attract that to you, which you've already established in your tone. Am I close with that description?
Absolutely, Virginia. Absolutely spot on with that. Yes. So speaking about the law of attraction then, I would encourage viewers, have a look at what your values are. Have a look at what your beliefs are, and see how they might match each other, or where there isn't a match happening. What I like to do is, my feelings are my barometer for my life, basically. So if something is not feeling good, is there an incongruency that is happening here? Is there some way that what I'm attracting to me that is not working for me, where I need to look at that and see how can I change that in my life?
Can you give us an example of incongruency versus congruency? I think I get congruency. I mean, you're really feeling what you're aspiring for. But what about incongruency?
So as you mentioned, yes, congruency would be when you're noticing the synchronicities that are happening in your life, more and more things just lining up, and there's no questioning. There's just a deep and absolute knowing. Then there are the incongruencies where the universe might have tried to tell you in a subtle way that, there's this feeling of unease. However, you're not really listening to it very clearly. So it comes in a slightly stronger way. It could be your car breaking down. It could be, missing something that you felt was really important. But all of these different ways of noticing that there isn't a congruent, it's incongruent with what the natural flow is in your life at this moment. So these things that come up that actually stop you in your tracks. And sometimes the more determined you are, the harder the knock needs to be to actually get you to just stop for a moment and look at whatever it is.
Now, that reminds me of a story many, many years ago in my life where apparently I wasn't paying attention and apparently I wasn't congruent between my desires and my actions and feelings. And I remember I was at the grocery store and I was reaching for something, and a box of some sort, I can't remember what it was anymore, fell off the shelf and hit me smack on the head. And I said, I guess that was a wake-up call. Pay attention. So that may be an example of incongruency.
Yes, absolutely. Great example. Thank you, Virginia. Yeah, yeah.
Well, now what about intuition and developing intuition? I think we all would like to be able to, read into the future and, intuitively know what's the best steps to take, but sometimes that's very difficult to discern. What steps can our viewers take? What actions or strategies or tips do you have to help all of us become more intuitive?
All right, thank you. So what I'd like to say, like the viewers to do, is this is an exercise to do when you've got a bit of time to sit. Get 4 sheets of paper, and on the top of each sheet of paper, the first one is emotional. Write the word emotional. The second piece of paper, mental. The third, physical. And the fourth is spiritual. Then go back to the first piece of paper that's got the emotional on and actually look at your day. Take your day, for example, and start with from in the morning. What feelings have come up for you during the day? Reflect back on your day. What has worked for you? What hasn't worked for you? What you're feeling, and that's where I use my feelings are very much my barometer. So have a look at what might not have worked for you or what has worked for you. And so for the emotional side, bring what you, and then put some action steps in place for yourself on how you can balance that and have things going more from a consciously creating your life to reacting to life, basically. Then on the
So do you ask somebody that when they're doing this that they have to, do you have any way of preparing for doing this, or is this a mental exercise, or are you in a meditative state? How do you get prepared for doing this exercise?
Yeah, so absolutely. To have no interruptions, to have some time where you can actually sit and be still and actually focus on what it is that you're doing. So you definitely need a bit of time to sit and actually do this.
Okay.
Yep. So then we go on to the mental side. And with the mental is your beliefs. What are you consciously creating in your life? Or what are you actually living? How are you living on your default setting? What is just happening automatically for you that you just afterwards have a look and see, oh wow, this didn't happen for me. And the default comes very much from our conditioning, external circumstances, the environment, all of that type of thing. So to actually measure from the mental perspective how in tune you are with that. And from the physical, what do you do to keep your body physically fit? What foods do you eat? So looking at that pillar of your life and seeing just how, and looking at your physical body would give you a good indication of just how much you are in tune with that aspect of your life. What measures have you got in place to actually help bring about a healthier, more toned body? Then we go on to the spiritual page and having a look at how much you are living from the inside out versus the outside inwards. And that is why with Authentic You Web TV, one of the main reasons for that is a lot of people are feeling so stressed at the moment, and when you're under that kind of pressure, it's not a time for you to even try and assess things, etc. That is when you can have somebody outside of you assisting you, giving you some pointers. So that's one of the main reasons that we started Authentically Web TV, where these teachers will actually give you physical examples. Each of the shows will consist of practical exercises, either that happen while you're sitting there watching the show, or the tools that you can take away with you. So,
well, this sounds like a great awareness exercise, and I hate to cut it short, but we are at our 30 minutes. I don't know how it went by so fast, but it did. So what I'm going to do is paste the link so that those of you who would like to come on into the show and ask Diane some more questions about this and how they can really establish a sense of intuition and also a little bit more about living the empowered life, we'd love to have you join us. I'm going to post that right now in the comment section, so any of you that want to come in and join us may feel free to do so. Well, it didn't come on. Hold on a second. I'll have to try copying it again. And I also want to say that next week we're going to be having on DC Cordova. I'm so excited about her being able to join us next week. She is the CEO of Accelerated Business Schools and the Money and You program. She has trained over 100,000 graduates from around the world in her program, including some very famous people that you may know. So we'd love to have you come and join us for that as well next week. And I think that today my final thoughts on this, and I want to share that with everyone else, is that by controlling our inner state in a world that gives us a lot of external stimulation, we are indeed living an empowered life. And that's what I bring from this show with Diane. I'm so pleased to have you with us, Diane. Again, I've just posted in the comment section if you want to come in and join us in the inside and ask Diane any questions, you may. You may also type your comments and questions into the comment section. I want to thank all of you for joining us. Diane, one last word from you. What would you like to leave with our viewers?
I would encourage you to ask the question of yourself. Who am I at the very essence of my being? And once you've asked that question, be still for a moment. Don't have a knowing. Simply be still and listen to what comes, and you will be amazed.
Who am I? That is such a powerful question, isn't it?
It is.
Wonderful way to leave it. So thank you everyone for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time, and I want to encourage you to go out and take action on some of these wonderful strategies and tips that Diane has shared with us today. So go out and make it a powerful day in your life and in all the lives of the people that your actions affect. Bye now.